with your host, Andrew Romanella.
When you play Battle in Mario Kart and you don't turn off any of the items, there are bananas everywhere. I mean, it's like you're losing your balloons because you're slipping on bananas left and right. Bananas everywhere.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcasting live on YouTube and on X. It's an on-location show at our second favorite location in the United States of America, Long Beach Island, New Jersey. So I'm excited to be coming at you from LBI again. It's Thursday, June 19th, 2025. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella, and you can get in on the action here on The Rome Show if you go to youtube.com/12OZ Sports and get right in on the comment section, or x.com/12OZ Sports. Follow the mothership wherever you can. The social media for The Rome Show is The Rome Show 1. That is The Rome Show, then the number 1, bottom left-hand corner of your screen if you're watching at home. Speaking of those that might not be watching and just listening, if you like to do that and not while the show is live, The Rome Show podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Big show for the people today. We had a champion crowned 48 hours ago in the National Hockey League in the Florida Panthers. And now we wonder, we wait, and we will see if there will be a champion crowned tonight in the National Basketball Association, as game number 6 in Indiana will tip off around 8:30 p.m. And the Indiana Pacers will look to keep their season alive and force a game 7. We will do what we have done before every game of this series, and we will give you our keys to the game. But we don't start there in the NBA. No. We start in a place that is very surprising, at least for me, in a place that I did not expect to start a show on Thursday in June 2025 with, but it is where we are. And that is the Los Angeles Lakers, owned currently by the Buss family since 1979, will be sold to a man named Mark Walter. We'll get into him in a second, for a total of, brace yourselves here, people, $10 billion. Yes, $10 billion. The Lakers were valued at. The Buss family, as I mentioned before, has owned the Lakers since 1979. Jeannie Buss, currently the governor of the Los Angeles Lakers since 2013, when her father gave her control of the team, will remain the governor of the team for a number of years as the ownership majority transitions from the Buss family to Mark Walter. The Buss family will own a minority stake for roughly 15% for a little bit of time before fully fading into the wind. Mark Walter is not new to the Los Angeles Lakers or the ownership group. Since 2021, he has held a 26% stake in the franchise and currently has ownership stake in the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, in Formula One, English Premier League, and professional women's hockey. The Lakers, since the Buss family has owned them for roughly 50 years, the longest tenured owners to date in the National Basketball Association, they have won 11 championships. Magic Johnson, Hall of Famer and longtime Jeannie Buss confidant, had this to say about the sale of the Lakers to Mark Walter. A few things I can tell you about Mark. He is driven by winning, excellence, and doing everything the right way. And he will put in the resources needed to win, Johnson said. I can understand why Jeannie sold the team to Mark Walter because they are just alike. They are competitive people, have big hearts, love to give back, and both prefer to be behind the scenes. This makes all the sense in the world. Since Mark Walters and the aforementioned Magic Johnson have been together, a part of the ownership group of the Los Angeles Dodgers for over 12 years. They have produced 11 National League West titles and 2 World Series championships. So Mark Walters understands what it's like to own a professional franchise, but not only own a professional franchise, be at the peak level of greatness when it comes to being a professional franchise. And that is what the Los Angeles Lakers have been for the existence of my lifetime, but for the last 50 years since the Buss family has taken over. And dating back farther, the Los Angeles Lakers name has always been a top name, not just in basketball, but in professional sports, point blank, period. But the last 50 years, it is Mount Rushmore type stuff for this franchise. So when this franchise is being sold, much like the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets or any of the major franchise staples for their professional league, you're hoping, you're praying that it's not being sold to a person or persons that are going to completely take the franchise in the opposite direction. And right now, though it's not as dramatic as Boston Red Sox fans think it is, you see what happens when your ownership group isn't in a good place and how poor it can be for your team. So Magic Johnson urging Lakers fans to be excited about this sale. This is the right person, if not the Buss family, to lead the Lakers. I read some reports that stated Luka Doncic had some short notice about the sale of the team. But in my opinion, it should not matter necessarily who owns the team if you're Luka Doncic, as long as the commitment to being the greatest, the commitment to excellence, let's reference Kobe Bryant, RIP, Mamba mentality that is the Lakers franchise, the history of winning for Luka. That's what he needs to know. Is the person buying this team going to put the same resources in over the next 50 years that were put in the previous 50 years? And if so, let's ride. And so for Luka, he'll find that out over the next year or two. For Luka, he'll see if he wants this to be the franchise he spends the next 10 to 15 years at. But from all accounts and purposes, it sounds like Mark Walters is the right guy. He's also the CEO of TWG Global, which is an investing group. And for reference, by the way, just so you have an idea of how recklessly valued the Lakers are and how highly valued a franchise like the Lakers is comparative to other franchises, even other historic franchises. Just 3 months ago, the Boston Celtics were sold for $6.1 billion. So arguably the second most famous franchise, the second most known franchise in the National Basketball Association, is not even sniffing the jockstrap of the Los Angeles Lakers when it comes to the value of the franchise. Another very well-known franchise, and was also very well-known for a while, one, because of having one of the best players in the league in Dirk Nowitzki, but because of their owner for a long time, Mark Cuban. The Dallas Mavericks, when Mark Cuban sold his majority share a few years back, sold for $3.5 billion. So you can see the dramatic difference from just franchise to franchise in the National Basketball Association. And so the Lakers are that prime time, best cut of meat franchise. And they'll be moving forward with a new owner in Mark Walter. We won't be moving forward with a new host. I'll be right here for the people every day at 7 a.m. on 12 OZ Sports, The Rome Show, YouTube, X. Follow us on all the social media sites. Game 6 of the NBA Finals tonight. The Indiana Pacers are looking to stay alive in this one as OKC looks to hoist their first championship as the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think their first championship, if you include their time as the Seattle Supersonics, there was a championship in the 70s. I want to say like 78 or 79, somewhere in that range. But it will be their first championship since then, and their first championship as the Oklahoma City Thunder, with which they transitioned to the year after Kevin Durant was drafted. Man, I feel like that was like 2006, 2007, maybe a little bit later. I could be wrong, but somewhere in that area was when KD got drafted out of Texas. The Thunder became the Thunder. Write us in, youtube.com/12OZ Sports if you have the answer for us. Okay. Comment. We love live comments. And so this will be the first championship for them, first championship ever for the Indiana Pacers. What do the Pacers need to do to stay alive in this series and take home a victory in game number 6? Well, first and foremost, it comes down to their star, Tyrese Halliburton. You saw him playing on a lame calf in game 5, and it produced only 4 points. And worse, 0 points from the field. Okay? And so the biggest question mark heading into this game is, what are you going to get from Tyrese Halliburton? Because though the Indiana Pacers are a great team, and though this team has shown grit and resilience at the highest level, and though if there was a team to be able to overcome losing currently the most clutch player in the league during this time frame, not overall, just during the last 2 months, it would be the Indiana Pacers. Okay? But what you saw in game 5 was a little bit of, man, maybe we don't have enough to get over a team as good as the Oklahoma City Thunder, offensively, defensively, other. Maybe if we're not 100% and all cylinders aren't firing together, and we're a B plus in this area, a C in this area, and an A in this area, we really aren't good enough. And if you go back to the podcast of yesterday's show, when we had Rocky on, Hockey with Rocky Weekly here on the Rome Show, we talked about this with the Edmonton Oilers, because I asked Rocky, who's closer to beating the Florida Panthers? Would it be the Oilers, who have been in the Stanley Cup with them for each of the last 2 years? Or would it be another team in the league that, though they weren't in the Stanley Cup Finals for each of the last 2 years, and though they didn't bring the Panthers to game 7 2 years ago and game 6 this year, they are actually closer than the Oilers might be? That's the feeling I got. Man, Edmonton's good, but they can't beat this team. That game 6 in the Stanley Cup Finals on Tuesday night was as good as over after the first 10 minutes. And part of me feels like that's what could happen tonight. This is the closest that Vegas has had this series. OKC favored by only 5.5 points. The Pacers are really good in Cambridge Fieldhouse. Outside of the fact that they're a team that you must play for every second of every game, or they'll find a way to come back no matter the score. When they are at home, they are a super difficult team to play against. But with the way the last 10 minutes went of game 5, with the stat line that Tyrese Halliburton put out in game 5, I can't help but feel like I'm going to end this game with OKC hoisting the championship and me feeling like, maybe the Pacers weren't actually as close as we thought they were. Maybe they were just playing way above their head, which is cool. Happens all the time. Some teams even take it to the championship and win a championship. And that's okay. I feel like that's what happened at the end of the Knicks series against this Pacers team. Your balloon just gets popped quickly. And it's going to come down to Tyrese Halliburton. And can he muster up an elite level game despite what his calf feels like? Number one key for this Pacers team tonight. Number two is outside of Siakam. Who is it? Okay. Take Halliburton off the board. Put Halliburton on the board. It can't just be Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton expected to show up consistently every night for the Indiana Pacers. It cannot be that way. So is it Obi Toppin? Is it Naismith? Who's going to be that, if it's not Halliburton's second guy? If Halliburton's having a good day, who's the third and the fourth option? Because you cannot keep getting killed in bench points the way you've been getting killed in this series against the Thunder's bench. And on top of that, you cannot consistently rely on only two players to be exactly the same every night. And then you're hoping a third or a fourth comes out of nowhere and is electric for you. And it has happened. You've seen it a few times in this series. In game number 3, Benedict Mathurin, 27 points off the bench. Huge for the Pacers. This series could be over if that doesn't happen. Okay? So who is that third and fourth option? And if Halliburton is Halliburton, as we all hope and expect he is, okay, or isn't Halliburton, as we expect him to be, who's that second option? Because it cannot just be Pascal Siakam. On the flip side, I have one key for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because it's downright obvious that if you're playing the Indiana Pacers, you must play them for the entirety of the game. No minute can be taken off. No lead is too safe. And there cannot be a time that you're on the floor and you're taking a moment's breather. It can't happen. Okay, so I can't make that a key to the game because after game number 1 of this series, OKC learned that the hard way. Okay, so I have one key, and that key is the bench must continue to shine if you're the Thunder. So far, in the 5 games of the NBA Finals, the Thunder bench has scored 30.6 points per game on average. Okay, 30.5 points a game on average off the bench. Okay? You couple that with the most valuable player in the league in SGA, and then you have a Jalen Williams who has scored 33.5 points per game on average over the last 2 games, 27 in game 4, 40 in game 5. And that is a tough recipe to beat. So if you're going to tell me SGA will give me 30 and Jalen Williams will give me 20 and the Thunder bench is going to give me 20 right there, and I haven't even added the other 3 starters into that mix, I don't see how you have enough if you're the Pacers to beat this Thunder team. Now, if the Thunder bench doesn't show up, if it's just SGA out there scoring the points for the blue, orange, and white, then we're going to a game 7 back in Oklahoma City. Thunder favored by 5.5, over under at 222.5 points. Okay? So badly do I want to stick with my it's going 7 games. But I have this weird taste in my mouth after game 5 that it might not be that way. I'll save that pick for you for after the commercial break on the Rome Show. 12 OZ Sports, broadcasting live on YouTube and X. Stick with us because when we come back, we're going to talk National Hockey League, some NFL headlines, and more. Andrew Romanella, back after this.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Yeah, it's the Rome Show. 12ouncesports.com. Broadcasting live on YouTube and on X. Follow us, The Rome Show 1, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X. All the social media, The Rome Show podcast. Wherever you listen to podcasts. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Hope you're waking up with us. You can wake up with us every single day on 12 Ounce Sports. 7 a.m. We are here, and we are here for you. We're going to run through a few headlines to finish the show today. Two headlines that really aren't good, but man, does one of them make me laugh. And let's start with that in the National Hockey League. How about this? Okay. So I'm going through and I'm doing my research for the show, and I read a headline that says Panthers dent, crack Stanley Cup while celebrating latest title. And as the report goes, according to this, the Panthers dented the cup portion of the Stanley Cup and have also cracked a portion of it. I don't know exactly where they cracked the Stanley Cup. According to the National Hockey League, the 37-pound cup has very much had to be repaired multiple times in the history of the cup. 131 years the cup has existed. Okay. It's made out of silver and nickel alloy. I did not know that, but now I do. And this is tradition, and I love this part of the National Hockey League. Every single person that has ever won the Stanley Cup has their name inscribed on the cup. Every inscription is slightly different because a different hand is doing that inscription. These dudes party with it. They take it into the pools. They take it into the ocean. This thing's been dropped off of boats before. The Stanley Cup, I wish, had a camera inside of it for the history of it, because what you'd probably witness from the Stanley Cup's vantage point would be wild. Okay? And this is just another dent, crack in the history of the Stanley Cup. And why I love hockey and the history of hockey is this is cool to hockey people. This is fun to hockey people. This is a great story to hockey people. This is not a travesty. Oh my God, someone broke our trophy. How could they? This is, oh, that's awesome. What were they doing last night that they broke the trophy, man? You know? So kudos to the Panthers, two-time defending champions in the National Hockey League. I am sure as we do this show right now, they are still partying in Fort Lauderdale. You know who's not partying? That is Shedeur Sanders. Why? Because Shedeur Sanders was pulled over the other day for doing 101 miles per hour in a 60 mile per hour zone. He now has to pay a fine or go to court and fight the ticket. Now, I don't bring this story up just to talk to you about potential tickets that you could get driving on the road, though, unfortunate for me, I do have a little bit of history in that. We're not going to go there. I bring this up because the question I have written down after reading this story is maybe that's why Shedeur Sanders dropped from a quote-unquote potential first-round draft pick, further, the potential first overall pick when college football season started last year, to a fifth-round draft pick for the Cleveland Browns, and a guy that potentially might not really have an NFL career. Could this be why? Could things like this be the reason why an NFL team said, I cannot give you the keys to our franchise? You do not give me the belief that you are mature enough to lead this franchise. So why am I going to give you the millions of dollars that we're going to tie up in you for being a first round pick when you cannot handle yourself like a first round pick? And you already have the money that we'd be giving you from what you made in NIL in college. So I really don't need to draft you in the first round. And Shedeur's got to watch himself. And you're really going to find out how badly this kid wants to be in the National Football League right now. Because things like this cannot be going on if you're a fifth round draft pick with nothing guaranteed and you're trying to make a name for yourself. And unfortunately, fair or unfair, you enter the league with a slight black eye against you. No, not because the ticket, but just because of the story. Because there's a reason teams didn't pick you. There's a reason you fell to the Browns where you fell in the fifth round. And having just one story like this one against you, while you're in the midst of trying to earn that respect in the NFL, cannot be good, will not be good, and should not be what Shedeur Sanders is getting into. So, if I'm Dion, if I'm anyone in Shedeur's camp, today we are having the most important conversation that is at all possible with Shedeur about what he needs to understand this is about and how many eyes are on him and the microscope with which every decision he makes is going to be looked through. And he cannot afford tickets at 100 miles per hour in a 60. He cannot afford negative press. You know, people always say all press is good press. Not in this scenario. Not when you're a fifth round draft pick that has significantly lost value over the last 6 months. I mean, it's like a Mount Kilimanjaro slide for this guy right now. And this is not himself helping himself at all. So we'll see what happens with Shedeur Sanders, but these stories keep popping up. He will not be popping up on NFL Sundays. Will pop up on your radio, on your TV, on your Twitter, on your whatever you watch us on computer every day at 7 a.m. And we hope you join us daily. If you miss us live, remember the Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast. I'm Andrew Romanella. You have an electric Thursday. Thunder up, baby. Let's go OKC. Until tomorrow.
Thank you for listening.